Roma agrees to go to Aurous Hill to meet Wade, and is flown by helicopter and private jet. Luther is confused as to why Wade is looking for Roma. Zynn is sent to Syria, and Hamid begins building defenses. Pollard is anxious on campus. Charlie buys Chanel clothes, shoes, and underwear for the newly rescued Melba. Melba is embarrassed but happy. The clothes fit perfectly. She prepares to meet Pollard's father at the university, planning to go shopping again afterward.
Chapter 2721-2725. Hearing that it was a call from the Wade family, not only Roma couldn't believe it, but Luther on the side was also shocked. Just when Roma was surprised, Isaac asked, "Ms. He, is it convenient to speak now?" Roma recovered and hurriedly replied, "Convenient, please say." Isaac smiled and said, "That's it. On behalf of our young master, I would like to invite Ms. He to meet and have a chat." "I don't know if Ms. He has time to meet," Roma asked puzzledly. "I don't know what your young master wants to talk to me." Isaac said, "Of course it's a chat. We have scope for cooperation. Our young master hopes to discuss with you whether the Wade family and the He family have the opportunity to develop in-depth cooperation." Roma suddenly hesitated. She was planning to go to the coast of the Jiaodong Peninsula to find clues about her daughter. At this time, there was really no thought that she wants to talk to the young master of the Wade family about cooperation. But when she thought of the special situation of the family, she needed to find a strong attachment, so she hurriedly said, "Mr. Isaac, when and where does your young master want to meet? If you allow time, can I let other people from the He family come to meet him?" Isaac said, "Our young master is now in Aurous Hill. The sooner you meet, the better, but if it's someone else, let's forget." The young master called for an interview with Ms. He specifically. When Roma heard this, her face suddenly became embarrassed. She is going to Jiaodong Peninsula, but Aurous Hill is in another direction, so if she agrees to go to Aurous Hill, she will inevitably delay the plan and itinerary to find her daughter. However, her father Luther hurriedly winked at her and signaled that she must agree to it. Seeing her father's face full of nervousness and expectation, Roma struggled for a while, and had to say, "Well, then, since Master Wade thinks of me so much, then I will come to Aurous Hill to see him." After that, she asked hurriedly, "I am in Mochang. The nearest airport is hundreds of kilometers away from me, and there should be no direct flight to Aurous Hill from there. If the fastest is possible, I might be able to reach Aurous Hill tomorrow. May I ask, will Master Wade have time tomorrow?" Isaac said, "If Ms. He is convenient, I can arrange a private jet to pick you up." After a pause, Isaac said again, "Let's do it, Madam He, you give me your current address. I will arrange for a helicopter to take off from the nearest airport to pick you up, and then arrange a private jet to wait at the airport, and the helicopter will drop you there. After arriving at the airport, the private jet should be there. At that time, you can directly take the jet to Aurous Hill. If you hurry, you will be here tonight." So anxious. Roma suddenly wondered. She didn't understand. She can't figure out why young Master Wade is so anxious to see her. Even if he really wants to reach a cooperation with her family, there is no need to rush in such a hurry. Because according to Isaac's plan, the transport alone to pick her up and drop her at Aurous Hill. The cost of millions. First, the helicopter has to fly a total of 700 or 800 kilometers back and forth, and then the private jet has to fly more than 5,000 kilometers back and forth. This is really a big move. But for Roma, this time schedule couldn't be more appropriate. Because she originally planned to go to the Jiaodong Peninsula, even if she departs today, drive a few hundred kilometers to the airport at night, and the airport is not big, there are no more than 10 flights at the end of the day, so she will definitely not be able to leave at night, so she can only buy it for next day. Tomorrow morning's plane will fly to Eastcliff first, and, after arriving at Eastcliff at noon, then transfer to Jiaodong Peninsula. In this case, it will be tomorrow afternoon at the earliest to reach the Jiaodong Peninsula. However, if she can go to Aurous Hill first tonight and have a chat with young Master Wade about cooperation, no matter what the cooperation talks are, she should be able to depart from Aurous Hill to Jiaodong Peninsula tomorrow morning. Aurous Hill is very close to the Jiaodong Peninsula, and it takes just over an hour by high-speed rail. Therefore, not only will this not affect her original plan, it will even be faster. So she agreed without hesitation and politely said, "I have no problem here, but I have to trouble you to arrange the itinerary there." Isaac smiled and said, these are all trivial matters. Ms. He will give me the detailed address. Just to mention, I arranged for the helicopter to come there first. Okay. After Roma gave Isaac the specific address of the He's family, the two said goodbye to each other and hung up the phone. As soon as the phone hung up, Luther couldn't help but said excitedly, "This is really sleepy and someone will pass a pillow. Just I was looking for an opportunity to see if I could connect with the Wade family or the GU family, but the Wade family's phone came over." Roma nodded, but she couldn't figure it out, and said in confusion, "Dad, I don't understand. Why did the Wade family take the initiative to approach us?" Luther blurted out, "It must be against the Sioux family, so they thought of coming to win us." Roma shook her head and said, "In my impression, the Wade family has always been to the martial arts family. There is no high requirement." Luther waved his hand. "There was no before, it doesn't mean that they can't have it now. Maybe people just want to win over the martial arts family and improve their overall strength. It's not quite right." Roma said seriously. "After the accident in the Sioux family, the major families have actually converged a lot. Before, they were able to pass the martial arts family and make small moves behind their backs, but now they dare not mess around, so it seems that the Wade family shouldn't be suddenly at this time want to win us over." With that, Roma said again, "Besides, I still have something I don't understand." Luther hurriedly asked, "What's the matter?" Roma said, "The caller Isaac asked me to go to Aurous Hill to see their young master, but shouldn't the Wade family be in Eastcliff? Even if they have power in Aurous Hill, they are not from Aurous Hill. In terms of size, this kind of second-tier city shouldn't need a Wade family master to sit, right?" Luther frowned and asked her, "Do you think there is fraud in this?" Roma shook her head and said, "There is a fraud or not. I can't talk about it, I just think it's weird, it doesn't seem to make sense, and even if the Wade family wants to talk to us, they shouldn't find me. Since I lost an arm, I haven't been out for publicity. Many people don't even know my identity. How did they contact me directly, and they said my name, their young master just wanted to cooperate with me." Luther was also a little puzzled, muttering to himself, "It sounds like it's not true. It's too reasonable. Why don't you call back and ask?" Roma thought for a while, and said, "Forget it, I'll go and have a look. If I think about it, it can't be a trap. I really can't think of anyone. Deal with me deliberately." After speaking, she said again, "When I arrive at night, I will talk to their young masters first, and then try to get a result, so that I will take the first high-speed train to Jiaodong tomorrow morning. It's faster to set off to Jiaodong." "Yeah." Luther nodded and said, "If you have any circumstances then, please contact me in time." When Isaac mobilized resources to pick up Roma from northeast desert city to Aurous Hill, Zynn was escorted on a plane by Isaac's men and flew to Syria. At the same time, Hamid, who was far away in Syria, also began to mobilize his own soldiers, preparing to follow Wade's points to strictly implement the 9-character policy of digging deep holes, accumulating grain, and slowly becoming king. His friend in the construction industry in Iraq heard Hamid say that he could give a 50% project premium, and he was willing to pay $5 million in advance. He did not hesitate to stop his late payment in Iraq. The project, with a bunch of construction workers who want to make money, hurried to Syria. Chungfeng didn't know that his son had already started a journey westward. He knew that Zynn was looking for a chance to meet Ito Takehiko today, so he waited for good news in the villa. And Pollard, who is teaching at Aurous Hill University of Finance and Economics, has been suffering from extreme anxiety all morning. He has been following reports on the 8 hostages in Syria, but what makes him feel very nervous is that there is no latest development of any public reports on this matter. It's not that the local media didn't report it, but the opposition, who had taken the hostages, didn't even speak up. According to the previous public statements of the opposition, if the U.S. Embassy does not pay $80 million, now they will kill the prisoners one by one at a certain time interval. It stands to reason that once the opposition and the U.S. Embassy talk to no avail, they must kill the hostages to put pressure on the U.S. Embassy, but they went silent and did not release any more information. This is really counterintuitive. Pollard was also worried about Charlie's safety and whether he could bring his daughter back. After all, there was a raging war there, and if it went to Charlie alone, it would be difficult for him to easily rescue his daughter. But he didn't know that Charlie had already brought his daughter back to Aurous Hill as early as dawn. At this moment, his daughter Melba is in a dream. Life in Syria during this period was very difficult, and after being captured, there was a lot of fear, psychological and mental pressure. Now she finally returned to the peaceful and calm Washa, lying on the soft and comfortable big bed of the 5-star hotel, which made her completely relax physically and mentally, so she slept very firmly. Charlie told Isaac to contact Roma, and he strolled to the commercial area of the Shangri-La Hotel. This kind of top-star hotel has very complete commercial facilities. Many top luxury brands prefer to cooperate with 5-star hotels. Because in their opinion, consumers who live in 5-star hotels generally have relatively strong spending power, which completely overlaps with their customer groups of luxury goods. Therefore, many Chanel, Hermes, and Dior stores are opened in 5-star hotels. Charlie came here alone, not just rushing to go shopping freely, but planning to buy new clothes for Melba. When he saw Melba in a cellar in Syria yesterday, the clothes she wore were so dirty that the original color was not visible. After all, they were arrested as prisoners of war, so in this case, it is difficult to guarantee a decent dress. However, at noon, he planned to take Melba directly to Aurous Hill College of Finance and Economics and give her father a surprise. Since it is to give a surprise, his daughter must be delivered to him intact and clean. If Melba wears something like a beggar and goes there, let alone how Pollard feels after seeing her, the key is that the security guards of Aurous Hill University of Finance and Economics may not let her in. Charlie came to the commercial area and bought Melba a high-end customized garment in the Chanel store. The style of a high-end fashion brand like Chanel is slightly luxurious, and the style of clothes is more glamorous and S3XY. Charlie chose an off-white dress casually. Chanel's dress is in the style of the British royal princess. The lower body is a knee-length skirt, while the upper body is a long-sleeved small suit style, which is quite a luxurious celebrity style. The reason why he chose this kind of clothes is mainly that the weather is still a bit cold now. This kind of spring and autumn clothes is just right. Although the skirt of this dress is very long, if you wear it with bare legs, it will definitely be a bit cold, so Charlie bought another black base stockings. After choosing the size based on Melba's height in his impression, he was about to pay the bill and leave. He suddenly remembered that the pair of sneakers worn by this woman yesterday was too dirty, so he bought her another pair of size 37, white fashion leather shoes. He didn't know if this size was right for her, but it didn't matter. If it wasn't appropriate, let Melba make do with it. It was better than wearing the clothes that had been on the battlefield. Carrying the newly bought clothes and shoes, Charlie accidentally discovered that there were several dummy models wearing the only Un 3R wear in the window of the next store. He just remembered that he hadn't bought Un 3R wear for her yet. You don't have to think about it. Melba has been tossing for so long and finally arrived in the room in the morning. She must be exhausted. Therefore, it is most likely that she will go to bed immediately after taking a shower. She can't have time to wash her Un 3R wear out and dry them all. That means that when she is going to see her dad, she doesn't have clean Un 3R wear to replace. Therefore, Charlie simply walked in. After entering, he discovered that this turned out to be a high-end L. Nuri shop. The salesperson inside is female, and the few customers who are hanging out in the store are also female. Seeing Charlie, a big man, came to visit the L. Nuri shop alone, everyone looked at him with a strange look. Charlie also knew that it was indeed a bit inappropriate to run here alone, so he planned to make a quick deal, pointed directly at a black lace Un 3R wear worn by a model, and said, "Come on, please give me this." The saleswoman was a little embarrassed, yet said, "Sir, you want to do what size?" Size. Charlie frowned, recalled, opening, probably about 1.7 meters tall, slim. Okay. The salesperson nodded, and then asked, "Then what cup shape is your girlfriend's upper B0 die?" Charlie heard what she meant, and thought, what cup shape Melba is, how do I know? I didn't touch it. But, besides, she didn't tell me. Moreover, when I saw her, she was wearing outdoor sportswear with anti-war slogans. The clothes were relatively loose and looked like she didn't have much $T. So he scratched his head and said, "Well, I don't know what the specific cup is, but it should not be too big." The salesperson also said with a bit of embarrassment, That should be the A cup. Wait a minute, I help you match the size. Charlie said without hesitation. Okay. Hurry up. The salesperson took out 2 pieces of Un3R ware neatly stacked in the packaging bag from the small warehouse at the back, and asked Charlie, "Sir, do you want to open it and take a look? Check for flaws or thread ends." Charlie is ashamed to check women's Un3R ware in front of so many people and hurriedly said, "No need, just pack it for me. Come on, pay, do you swipe me, or I swipe you?" The sales clerk said hurriedly, "Wait a minute, I will sweep you." Then the sales clerk skillfully puts the Un3R ware into the bag, and then scanned the code for settlement. After checking out, Charlie ran out carrying the bag without waiting for the receipt. The salesperson looked at Charlie's back, then looked at the back of the dummy model, and muttered, "I didn't expect this handsome guy to be so decent, and he would come alone to buy such explicit T-shaped Un3R wear for his girlfriend." For women, silk stockings are absolutely indispensable. Un3R wear not only can set off the figure and temperament but also can be used for warmth. A few years ago, women were rarely seen wearing skirts in winter, because the premise of wearing skirts is to ensure the temperature of the legs, but it is a little weird to wear skirts on the upper body and pants on the lower body, while the upper body wears a skirt. Wearing long trousers is even more exotic. It was not until the popularization of leggings and bottoming stockings that this problem was solved. However, although silk stockings have become very common, Melba has never received silk stockings from men. This feeling is more or less subtle. But she knew very well in her heart that Charlie was showing an expression of care and consideration, otherwise she might really have to wear a dress with bare legs. She picked up the dress, put it on her body, walked to the mirror, and gestured, looking at herself in the mirror. She couldn't help but sigh. Mr. Wade bought the size that looks very fit, the style is also very beautiful, and the vision is really good. She put down her dress and saw another Chanel bag and a shoebox, so she hurriedly opened the shoebox and found that it was a pair of very delicate white fashion leather shoes, so she couldn't wait to take it out and try it on her feet. After trying it, she was even more surprised to find that these shoes are not too big or too small. They are really well-fitting. Don't know how Mr. Wade had such a precise judgment. Is it the result of visual inspection? If it is, then the visual inspection is too accurate. Thinking of this, she felt a little bit more unusually moved towards Charlie. When she thought that Charlie was still waiting for her and her father was even more anxious about her situation, Melba didn't dare to think about it anymore, and quickly got ready to dress and go out. But when she took off her bathrobe, she suddenly realized that she didn't even have clean Un3R wear to replace. When she arrived at the hotel this morning, she was so tired that she fell asleep on the soft floor of the living room almost the next minute. In the end, because the body was really dirty, she took a shower forcibly. After the washing, she was so tired that she couldn't open her eyes, so she fell asleep without thinking about washing Un3R wear at all. Thinking of this, she was very annoyed, and she muttered with self-blame, Melba, you are so stupid, why haven't you thought about washing your Un3R wear clean and replacing it? What should I do now? I can't wear dirty Un3R wear anymore. Well, that's too disgusting. But I have to wear it. I can't let Mr. Wade buy me an Un3R wear. It's too hard to tell. When Melba didn't know what to do, she suddenly found out that package among the huge Chanel shopping bags. There is a small pink handbag. She hurriedly picked up the handbag, only to realize that the brand logo on the bag turned out to be a brand specializing in high-end women's Un3R wear. Could it be that this is the Un3R wear Mr. Wade bought for me? When she thought of this, Melba's face was red, immediately reached the base of her neck. Charlie bought her a base stocking, which already made her feel very embarrassed, but how could she have thought that he even bought Un3R wear for her? Even such a close-fitting Un3R wear. Mr. Wade had to buy clothes for her, which was too shameful for a while. Melba was very complicated. On the one hand, she was relieved because there was a solution, but on the other hand, because of the special nature of this matter, she was ashamed to want to plunge into the ice water. After a while, reality prevailed in her struggling heart. She said to herself, anyway, at least the problem of Un3R wear is solved. After this matter, I will pretend not to know, and never will Mr. Wade. Just when she thought of this, she mustered up the courage and opened the pink package. The package is opened, and lying inside are 2 individually wrapped plastic bags. Melba looked at the 2 pure black clothes with lace edges, and her embarrassed face became hot. Although she guessed it must be Un 3R wear, she didn't expect it to be black with lace. In fact, Melba never wears such fancy and somewhat over-the-top Un 3R wear. She is a pragmatist. She likes to wear close-fitting clothes with solid colors and skin-friendly fabrics. After all, in her opinion, comfort is the most important thing. However, right now Charlie bought them all, and there was no other choice, so she could only bite the bullet and open it, thinking, anyway, let's dress first and go out. Her personal belongings are in the United States and some luggage. The clothes are all in Syria. She didn't bring anything when she returned home. She could only purchase in bulk after she met her father. Quote, immediately, she blushed and opened one of the Un 3R wear Charlie bought for her. This is a piece of clothing worn on the upper body, so the first thing Melba does after opening it is to look at the size. She usually doesn't like to wear clothes that show her figure, so it is easy to be mistaken for a flat figure, but in fact, at 1.7 meters tall, she has a super hot figure. The front and back curls are just basic, the ubiquitous S shape. The curve is not less than those supermodels. It is also because Melba's figure is really too hot. Since going to college, she has always attracted some nasty suitors because of her good body, and even many people are like dog skin plasters. Her study and life have brought a huge impact, so she has never worn any clothes that can highlight her figure since then. For example, in summer, wear loose clothes as much as possible, and never wear skirts above the knees, so as not to show slenderness of her legs. In winter, she dressed herself up very bloated, and she couldn't see the bulging and curves of her figure. Charlie was fooled. Melba seemed to have no body, so she expected her CH3 stone out of stock. He bought the smallest cup directly. However, the real situation of Melba must be at least 2 sizes larger than it.